What is up, you guys? Brooke here. Did you hear the news? Did you hear it? Did you hear that I finished the first draft of my book?
I finished the first draft of my book, baby!
So yes, I finished the first draft of my book. And if y'all happen to not know what book it is that I have been working on, it's the book that I have been writing about that takes place in 1920s New Orleans, and it's a supernatural, paranormal stuff going on. Really need to work on my elevator pitch for this, but oh well. I'm excited because I finished the draft! I will say that I didn't finish the draft in the way that I thought I was actually going to finish the draft though. So there's a story that goes with this, kinda a story. There's a story, but anyway, let me dive into it. So I had always thought this book was going to be the first in a duology. I thought this was going to be the first book and that there was going to be a second one to come right after that. And that was going to be the completeness of this whole story that I have concocted into my head. And during NaNoWriMo, I did not finish this first draft of this first book. I was still in the middle of writing the first draft of the first book. And so coming into this year of 2019, I was still continuing to write the first draft, but I was re-outlining it because I was trying to add more to the outline to make it to where everything was more cohesive of the storytelling structure of the book. And as I was outlining this book, I knew, holy crap, there's a whole lot of shiznit that goes down. I just started thinking, is there too much like going on in one book? Because it was a big book. And the more I continued to write the outline for this book, the more I continued to know that this was going to be a huge book. Huge, folks. And I knew that that was probably going to scare off a lot of readers. So then I started to beta read the book that Bethany Atazadeh had written. It was the first in her series that she's been doing, and for the most part, those books are a lot smaller than traditionally sized books. These are kind of more so like a little over 200 pages or so. And I was like, oh, that's cool that it's a shorter book. I liked the feel of it. I liked how quick it felt. And so I just knew in my head, I was like, man, my book is not gonna feel quick at all because there's just so much meat to it. And then after I beta read Bethany's book, then I beta read for Natalia Lee. And her book was also really short too, to where I think she had even shorter than 200 pages. I think she had like 190 something or whatever. And so then I saw another shorter book and I just started thinking, you know what? These are two complete novels that they got to dive into everything that they wanted to dive into for their characters in this short a time span, and they're going to have more to come. And I just started thinking about my book, thinking, okay, if I was to divvy up my book to where it was smaller, where would I like cut it in between? Where would I have it to where this would be where I would have the book stop and then continue on with another book that would come after that? So I started thinking about, if I was to split my book into two books, would it make sense? Would it be to where I was leaving characters' stories still? I mean, I know a series is to where a character's story will continue on. Like in the Harry Potter books, obviously Harry's story continues on for 7 books, but there is a complete story being told in each individual one. I didn't want it to be where I was breaking apart a story that hadn't finished up and wrapped up. Obviously, once again, a character story in a series is continuing to be told in a series, but a book needs to still have its own individual story and needs to be a whole thing of itself. And I started to think, okay, I know exactly where I could break it up into two in this part of my book. And I had even thought in my head a long time ago that, hey, this is even like a wonderful time where if I wanted to have the story end here, I could, but I didn't want to at the time. And so I started thinking, this is where it could end, right here. This is a wonderful part for it to stop and to still have it to where it feels like a complete thing on its own, but then to where it still will be cohesive into going into the next book right after. So it just kind of was like, yeah, I just knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew that this first book was going to be split into two, and it was going to be split into two seamlessly almost. I mean, I do have to still go back and tweak things to where I'm wrapping everything up that needs to be wrapped up in the first book, so that way it will flow nicely into the second one, but still able to have its own story being told too. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm at right now, that instead of me being super happy and excited that I finished my first draft, I kind of felt like I finished my draft a long time ago. So I don't have that overall excitement of, oh my gosh, I just wrote the end. I just wrote my first draft. I kind of like wrote it and finished it without really knowing it was done a long time ago. I'm hoping this all makes sense. I'm really excited about this new direction I am taking this in. And so yeah, now I have a first draft, a completely really awkward first draft that definitely needs some heavy editing. And so that is what I'm going to be doing for Camp NaNoWriMo this month. Oh, and by the way, happy Camp NaNoWriMo. This comes out the first day of Camp NaNoWriMo, so haha! So during Camp NaNoWriMo, I'm going to be editing. It's going to be really hard to actually keep track of it all because I'm going to be reading through my book, making sure that I'm getting more so the story edits down and making sure that everything is making sense. And I'm not going to take a break or a pause on reading the first draft because I know lots of people, they like to take a break after they worked on their first draft, but technically it's been a long time since I had actually like read the first part of this book. And I don't really want to be taking a break from writing this book because I'm actually going to New Orleans here in the next couple weeks. I am so stoked. I cannot wait to go because I've never been to New Orleans. I've always wanted to go, and it's going to be phenomenal to actually go to the place of where it's the setting of the book that I am currently writing. I just cannot freaking wait. It's going to be heaven. I'm going with my mom first. We're both driving down there, and then after me and her get there, then my brother and my dad are going to be flying down there a little bit later and meeting us there. So we are so excited to tour the city, tour the Crescent City, and to just be living it up in New Orleans, having a hurricane drink as we are eating some beignets. Since I am going to New Orleans during April, during Camp NaNoWriMo, I won't be having a Camp NaNoWriMo vlog coming out to you guys every single week because I'm wanting to enjoy myself during New Orleans, and I'm not sure if I'm going to vlog it all for you guys. I'm going to vlog it for myself for sure, but I'm not sure if I'm going to vlog it for you guys. I know I'm going to be taking pictures, so I'll at least send you guys pictures on social media or whatever, and maybe even possibly on my channel. I'm not sure yet. So with everything going on, I still honestly don't know what my goal should be for Camp NaNoWriMo. Let me look up here real quick what I could do. Okay, I just kind of looked over at my options of like how I could be tracking my progress during Camp NaNoWriMo, and I've decided that I'm going to be tracking it by hours because editing is going to be a ball game that I haven't ventured into in a long time. So I don't know how this is smoothly going to go, and so I will be tracking it all by how many hours I'm putting into it. It's just gonna be a whole different experience this Camp NaNoWriMo with having it be more so focused on editing and more so not really being in the Camp NaNoWriMo experience the entire month because I will be gone for like a week or so. So those are my plans for Camp NaNoWriMo. Oh, and I'm also doing Camp NaNoWriMo while also doing live streams with Natalia and Mandi. I'll put the information below on when those live streams are going to be. We're doing 3 of them this month of Camp NaNoWriMo, and the first one is actually tonight. Whenever this video airs, it's tonight, and it's at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Natalia's channel. I will put the information for all of the live streams down below. If you'd like to stay posted on what all new craziness is going on with my book and the editing that I will be doing with it, feel free to follow me on my social media accounts. You can find me at _Brooke Passmore. I am there on Twitter and Instagram. And if you like this video, feel free to give me a big thumbs up below, and also feel free to subscribe because I post writing related content every week here. And thank you all so much for stopping by today. Happy Camp NaNoWriMo to everyone, and I will see you next time.